Have you ever noticed? Sometimes, it's not the weight of the world that crushes us, but the invisible weight we keep carrying inside? Think about it. You can be sitting in a quiet room, with no one asking anything of you, and yet, your chest feels heavy, your mind keeps racing, and you whisper to yourself, "Why do I feel so tired, even when nothing's happening?" I used to believe I needed more success, more approval, more security to finally feel at peace. But then I realized something surprising, even a little shocking. Life doesn't get lighter by adding more. It gets lighter by carrying less. It's like trying to cross a river while holding a backpack full of rocks. Most of us keep adding new stones, expectations, regrets, fears, without ever thinking of letting any go. And then we wonder why we feel like we're drowning. Buddhism has a gentle but powerful truth about this. Freedom doesn't begin when we achieve something new. Freedom begins when we release what no longer serves us. And that's exactly what we're exploring today. There are 10 everyday habits, quiet, invisible, but incredibly heavy, that keep us stuck in stress, self-doubt, and constant exhaustion. These habits are so common that you might not even notice them until you realize how much they've been stealing from your joy, your energy, and even your sense of self. In this video, we'll walk through them one by one, not in a judgmental way, but as a gentle reminder, as if a close friend is sitting across from you, holding your hand and whispering, "Hey, maybe it's time to set this down." Some of these habits might sound small, almost harmless at first, but as you'll see, they ripple through every part of our lives, our thoughts, our relationships, even our health. And when you finally let them go, something amazing happens. You don't just feel lighter, you begin to feel free. But here's the part you might not expect. The very first habit we'll talk about is something almost all of us do, often without realizing it. And yet, it's one of the fastest ways to lose our peace of mind. I'll give you a hint. It's the quiet voice in your head that tells you to look left and right and measure your worth by everyone else's life. So let's take a deep breath together, because what I'm about to share with you could be the first step to unburdening yourself from years of invisible weight. Stay with me, because once you hear this first habit, you might never look at your own life the same way again. Habit 1. Comparing yourself to others. Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone late at night. A friend just bought a new house. Someone else is celebrating their promotion. Another is smiling on a perfect vacation with the ocean behind them. And suddenly, your chest tightens. Your life feels smaller, quieter, almost like it doesn't measure up. We've all been there, haven't we? That quiet sting of comparison. It creeps in silently. At first, it feels harmless, almost natural. But over time, it eats away at our joy like tiny drops of water carving a canyon through stone. Here's the truth. When we constantly look at other people's paths, we forget to see the beauty of our own. And this is why comparison is one of the heaviest habits we need to release. Think about it. Your story is unique. Your struggles, your victories, your quiet mornings and sleepless nights, no one else has lived them the way you have. But when we compare, it's like holding up someone else's painting and judging our canvas against theirs. We forget that different colors, different strokes, different timelines create different masterpieces. Buddhism teaches something profound here. Mudita. It means finding joy in the happiness of others. Instead of letting envy burn inside us, we can actually let someone else's success be proof that good things are possible. that their light doesn't dim ours. It shows us the sky is big enough for all stars to shine. But let's be honest, it's not easy, right? Sometimes we feel like we're running a race where everyone else is ahead. You get that sinking thought, why am I not there yet? What's wrong with me? And that question, that sharp little dagger, is what steals our peace the most. So here's a gentle practice. The next time you feel comparison rising, pause, breathe, and whisper to yourself, their journey is theirs. My journey is mine. Then ask, what step can I take today that honors my own path? It doesn't have to be big. It could be finishing a book you started, cooking a healthy meal, or just taking a walk to clear your mind. Each small step is a way of choosing your own story over someone else's. Because here's the paradox. When we stop measuring, we actually start growing. And when we release comparison, gratitude sneaks back in. Suddenly, that little moment, a cup of coffee in the morning light, a laugh shared with a friend feels like enough, more than enough. So let me ask you, how much of your happiness right now is being stolen by comparison? And imagine, just imagine what your life could feel like if you chose joy over jealousy. If this message is resonating with you, take a breath. Give this video a like. It helps bring more people into this circle of reflection. And if you'd like to continue exploring the habits that weigh us down, make sure to subscribe. Because what we're about to uncover next, it might change the way you see your own thoughts. Habit 2. Overthinking. Have you ever lain awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying the same thought over and over again, as if your mind were stuck on a broken record? Maybe it's a conversation you wish you had handled differently. Maybe it's a decision you haven't made yet. Or maybe it's the endless what ifs. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? This is overthinking, and it feels like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. At first, it looks like you're trying to solve a problem. You tell yourself, if I just think hard enough, I'll figure it out. But here's the trap. Most of the time, we're not solving anything. We're just circling the same thoughts until our peace is completely drained. Have you noticed how exhausting it is? The body is lying down, but the mind is running a marathon. And by morning, you feel tired, even though you haven't moved at all. This is the inner conflict. Part of you wants certainty. You want to know the outcome, control the future. But another part of you knows you can't. Because life doesn't unfold according to our timelines or our worries. And here's the turning point. Peace doesn't come from controlling every detail. It comes from acceptance. Buddhism calls this mindfulness, the art of bringing the mind back to the present. Instead of chasing thoughts about yesterday or tomorrow, you simply breathe and return to now. Think of it like holding a glass of water. If you grip it too tightly, your hand shakes, the water spills. But if you relax your hand, the glass stays steady. Your mind works the same way. The harder you try to control every thought, the more chaotic it feels. But when you loosen your grip, when you breathe, notice, and accept, the mind naturally calms down. So, the next time you catch yourself spiraling and overthinking, try this simple practice. Pause. Close your eyes. Breathe in slowly to the count of 4. Hold for a moment. Then breathe out gently to the count of 6. Do this 3 times, and you'll notice the storm inside begins to soften. Because peace isn't hiding in the answer you're chasing. Peace is already here, waiting in this very breath. Let me ask you something. How many hours of your life have been lost to overthinking hours you'll never get back? And what would it mean for you if starting today, you could free your mind from that endless loop and step fully into the present moment? If this message touched you, take a second to gently like this video or share it with someone you care about. It helps spread this circle of calm to more people. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, we'll uncover another habit that steals our peace, one so common you might not even realize you're doing it every single day. Habit 3. Self-doubt. Have you ever held yourself back, not because someone else told you no, but because a quiet voice inside whispered, "You're not good enough"? It's heartbreaking when the biggest enemy is not out there in the world, but living inside our own mind. We want to try, we want to step forward, yet that small, doubtful voice makes the ground beneath our feet feel shaky. Maybe you felt it when you looked at a new opportunity, a promotion, a relationship, a dream you've carried for years. Instead of excitement, your heart sank. You thought, what if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if everyone sees me fall flat? This is self-doubt, and it is one of the most invisible prisons we live in. No walls, no bars, yet it traps us just the same. I know this feeling too well. There was a time I had a chance to speak in front of a group. My heart wanted to say yes, but my mind screamed, "You'll embarrass yourself. Stay small. Stay safe." So I stepped back, and you know what? The regret hurt far longer than the fear ever did. Here's the truth. Self-doubt feeds on fear of failure. But Buddhism teaches us something beautiful, what's called inner faith. Not faith in a perfect outcome, not faith that life will always go your way, but faith in your own inner strength. The quiet trust that no matter what happens, you can rise, you can adapt, you can learn. Think of a seed planted in the dark soil. At first, it's invisible. It doesn't look like much. But inside that tiny shell is the power to break through earth, to reach the sunlight, to become a towering tree. That's you. Your potential is already there. Self-doubt is just the dirt covering it. But here's the tension. If you believe the voice of doubt more than the whisper of inner strength, you'll never even let yourself sprout. You'll stay buried. So the question is, which voice will you choose to trust today? The next time that inner critic shows up, try this. Place your hand gently on your chest, take a slow breath, and say to yourself, "I am enough, right here, right now." It may feel simple, even strange, but each time you repeat it, you water the seed of confidence, and little by little, you'll see it begins to grow. Because the key isn't to silence every doubt forever. The key is to no longer let doubt make your choices for you. So, let me ask you, how many doors in your life have remained closed simply because you never gave yourself permission to turn the handle? And imagine, what would your life look like if, starting today, you trusted that inner strength more than the voice of fear? If this touched you, I invite you to gently like or share this video. It helps spread a little more courage in the world. And make sure you subscribe, because next, we'll uncover another habit that secretly steals your peace every day, and you might not even realize it yet. Habit 4. Negative self-talk. Have you ever noticed how harsh you can be to yourself? Think about it. If a friend made a mistake, you'd probably say, "It's okay, you'll get through this." But when it's you, that same kindness disappears. Instead, the voice inside whispers, "You're not smart enough. You always mess things up. You'll never get it right." These whispers feel small, but repeated every day, they cut deep. They shape how we see ourselves, They convince us that we're less than who we really are, and over time, those words become a cage, keeping us trapped in doubt and shame. This is negative self-talk, and if you've felt it, you know it doesn't just steal your confidence, it steals your peace. I remember a time I spent hours replaying a small mistake I made in front of others. Nobody else seemed to care. But inside, my voice kept repeating, "You embarrassed yourself. Why did you even try?" It was exhausting. And what I realized is this: the pain wasn't from the mistake itself. It was from the way I spoke to myself afterward. Here's the truth. The words we feed our own heart matter more than we realize. In Buddhism, there's a practice called metta-loving kindness. At first, it sounds like something we give to others. But the real work begins with how we treat ourselves. Imagine planting a garden. If you water the soil with poison, nothing will grow. But if you nourish it with care, with patience, with sunlight, it flourishes. Your mind works the same way. Negative self-talk is poison. Loving kindness is sunlight. But here comes the struggle. When you've been harsh on yourself for years, kindness can feel uncomfortable, even fake. You may think, how can I say I'm worthy when I don't believe it? The answer isn't to force yourself to feel different overnight. The answer is to start small. Next time you catch yourself saying, "I can't do this," pause. Place your hand over your heart. Take a slow, gentle breath and whisper instead, "I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm allowed to try." It may sound simple, but every time you replace criticism with compassion, you're rewriting the script inside your mind. And let me ask you, if you spoke to a child the way you often speak to yourself, would that child grow strong or shrink in fear? Now imagine the opposite. Imagine if your inner voice became your greatest supporter, your quiet cheerleader. How much lighter, freer, braver would your life feel? So here's the invitation. Today, try speaking to yourself the way you would to someone you deeply love. That is metta. That is self-compassion. And it's not weakness, it's the seed of resilience. If this message touched your heart, I'd be honored if you gently like this video or share it with someone who needs the reminder. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, we'll explore another hidden habit that quietly drains your happiness every single day. You won't want to miss it. Habit 5. Constant worry. Have you ever felt like worry is carrying you, even when nothing bad has actually happened? It's like an invisible backpack, heavy on your shoulders. Every step feels harder, not because of what's in front of you, but because of the weight of what if. What if I lose my job? What if I get sick? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? Sound familiar? That endless stream of questions is worry. And here's the thing. It steals life from the moment you're living right now. I used to wake up at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, replaying every possible future disaster in my head. And no matter how much I worried, nothing ever got solved in those dark hours. The only thing I lost was sleep and peace. That's the nature of worry. It tricks us into believing that if we think hard enough, if we prepare for every outcome, we'll be safe. But safety doesn't come from control. It comes from presence. Buddhist wisdom teaches us, focus on what you can touch in this moment and let go of the rest. Because truthfully, most of what we worry about never even happens. Studies show almost 85% of the things we worry about don't come true. And the few that do, we're usually more capable of handling them than we imagined. So how do we step out of this trap? The answer is both simple and powerful. Shift your attention back to what you can actually control. The next time worry rises, pause. take one deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs. Notice your chest rise and fall. And then ask yourself, is this something I can act on right now? Or is it just a story in my head? If there's action, take it. If not, release it, like exhaling smoke into the sky. Imagine standing on a beach, holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. Worry works the same way. The more you try to hold every possible outcome, the less peace you'll have. But if you gently open your hand, the sand rests there easily. Life feels lighter when you stop clinging. And let me ask you, how many days of your life have been dimmed, not by real problems, but by imagined ones? How much joy have you missed because you were busy rehearsing disasters that never arrived? Today, I invite you to try something new. When worry visits, don't push it away, but don't invite it to stay either. Acknowledge it, breathe, and then remind yourself, peace is here, in this moment. I don't need to carry tomorrow on my shoulders today. If this reflection resonates with you, I'd be grateful if you gently like this video. Maybe share it with someone who tends to worry too much. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, we'll uncover another silent habit that quietly drains your happiness and the simple shift that can set you free. Habit 6. Procrastination. Have you ever told yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow never came? That's procrastination. And it's so quiet, so subtle, that most of the time, we don't even realize how much it's stealing from us. It doesn't scream, it whispers. Just one more episode, just 5 more minutes scrolling. You'll start later. But those whispers, they slowly kill our dreams in silence. I remember sitting at my desk, staring at a blank page, waiting for the right moment to begin. Hours passed, days passed, and that dream I carried in my heart started to feel heavier, like a bird trapped in a cage. Maybe you've felt that too, wanting so badly to move forward, but feeling stuck in the loop of delay. Here's the paradox. Procrastination feels like rest, but it's actually restlessness in disguise. The more we delay, the more guilt grows, and that guilt becomes another chain. Inside, we know what we want to do, but outside, nothing changes. Buddhist wisdom speaks of right effort, not force, not pressure, but the gentle, steady choice to take one step at a time. Like planting seeds, you don't see the tree in one day, but every drop of water, every touch of sunlight brings it closer to life. So what if, instead of waiting for the perfect moment, we honored the smallest step? Maybe it's writing just one sentence, making one phone call, spending 5 minutes in focused effort. That's enough to build momentum. Because progress is never born from giant leaps. It's born from consistent, mindful action. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Looking up at the peak might paralyze you, but looking down at your feet, taking one careful step, suddenly the journey feels possible. And with each step, the view expands. Let me ask you this. What dream of yours has been sitting in the waiting room of someday? How many times have you silenced your own potential with the words, I'll do it later? The truth is, later is a lie. Tomorrow is never promised. The only place your dream can breathe is now. So the next time procrastination whispers, pause, smile at it, and then choose one simple action. Just one. That single act of effort is you breaking free from the chains of delay. And when you look back, weeks, months, or even years from now, you'll realize it wasn't a giant breakthrough that changed your life. It was the quiet courage to start, and the wisdom to keep going, one small step at a time. If this resonates with you, consider liking this video and subscribing gently so you can walk with me through more reflections like this. Because together, we're not just talking about habits, we're reshaping the way we live, moment by moment. Habit 7. Trying to please everyone. Have you ever felt exhausted? Not because of what you were doing, but because of who you were trying to be. That's the weight of trying to please everyone. It begins so innocently. We want love. We want acceptance. We want to belong. So we adjust. We smile when we don't feel like smiling. We say yes when our whole body wants to say no. And slowly, piece by piece, we trade authenticity for approval. I remember a time when I bent myself in every direction just to avoid disappointing others. On the outside, people thought I had it all together. But inside, I was crumbling like a tree with roots cut shallow, swaying at every gust of wind. Maybe you've been there too, caught in the endless performance of becoming what others expect, while your true self waits quietly in the shadows. Here's the truth. No matter how hard we try, we can never satisfy every voice around us. There will always be someone who misunderstands, who judges, who wants us to be different. Living for their approval is like chasing a horizon. You'll run forever, but you'll never arrive. Buddhist wisdom invites us to pause and ask, am I living from the outside in or from the inside out? Because freedom begins the moment we stop performing and start living in alignment with what feels true. This is not selfishness. It is self-respect. Imagine your life as a canvas. If you hand everyone else the brush, what picture will remain? But if you dare to hold the brush yourself, imperfect as it may be, every stroke becomes yours. That is authenticity. That is peace. So the next time you feel pulled in 1,000 directions, breathe. Place a hand on your heart. Ask gently, what is real for me in this moment? And then have the courage to honor it, even if it means disappointing someone else. Because the cost of betraying yourself is far heavier than the cost of someone's disapproval. Let me ask you, whose opinion are you still carrying like a stone in your pocket? And what would it feel like to set that stone down? And finally, walk free. Remember, living true does not mean you will please everyone, but it does mean that when you lay your head down at night, you'll rest, knowing you are honest, authentic, and whole. And that kind of peace cannot be bought, it can only be lived. If this reflection speaks to you, I invite you to gently like this video and subscribe. Not for me, but for you, so that these reminders keep finding their way back into your day. Together, let's practice the art of living from truth, not approval. Habit 8. Living in the past. There's a quiet prison many of us carry without even knowing. It has no walls, no bars, and yet it keeps us trapped. That prison is the past. Maybe for you it's regret things you wish you had done differently, words you wish you had spoken. Or perhaps it's resentment wounds caused by others that you keep replaying like a broken record. Whatever form it takes, living in the past is like dragging a heavy chain everywhere you go. You may be moving forward on the outside, but inside, you're still tied to yesterday. I remember a friend who once told me, "It feels like I'm driving while staring only at the rearview mirror." And isn't that exactly what regret does? We're so busy looking back that we miss the life unfolding right here in front of us. Buddhist wisdom calls this anicca, impermanence. Everything changes. No moment, no memory, no wound stays fixed forever. Yet our mind clings. It wants permanence where there is none. And that clinging becomes suffering. So, how do we step out of that invisible cage? The path begins with forgiveness. Not just forgiving others, but forgiving ourselves. Letting go is not saying, what happened was okay. It's saying, I refuse to let it control me anymore. Because every moment we remain stuck in resentment, we give away our freedom. Picture this: a bird sitting inside a cage with the door wide open, yet refusing to fly. That's what holding on to the past looks like. Freedom is there. Peace is there. But we must choose to spread our wings. The question is, are you willing to forgive? To loosen the grip of memory and let the river of time carry it away? Because the truth is, the past cannot be changed. But the present, this breath, this heartbeat, this choice, this is where your life is happening. And when you choose to forgive, you are not erasing the past. You are releasing its power over you. So tonight, before you close your eyes, try whispering to yourself, I forgive, I release, I let go. Even if your heart doesn't fully believe it yet, even if it feels impossible, every whisper plants a seed. And one day, that seed grows into freedom. Let me ask you, what memory are you still holding on to, like a stone in your chest? And what might your life feel like if you finally laid it down? If this reflection speaks to you, I invite you to gently like this video and subscribe, so you'll have more reminders to return, again and again, to the only place where peace truly lives, the present moment. Habit 9. Fear of failure. There's a shadow that follows many of us. It whispers before we start something new. It tightens our chest when we dream too big. And it says, what if you fail? Failure. Just the word itself can stop us before we even begin. Maybe you felt it too. That fear of looking foolish, of disappointing others, of proving to yourself that maybe you're not enough. And so, instead of taking a step, we freeze. We stay where it feels safe. But safe is also where dreams quietly die. The truth is, failure is not the end of the road. It's the teacher waiting on the path. Think about it. Every great invention, every great success story you've ever heard is built on a foundation of mistakes, setbacks, and lessons learned. What if Thomas Edison had stopped after his first failed attempt at creating the light bulb? We'd all be sitting in the dark. Buddhist wisdom reminds us of anicca, impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Not joy, not pain, not even failure. A mistake you made last year, last month, or even yesterday, it doesn't define you. It passes. And what remains is what you learned and who you become because of it. But here's the tension. Our minds cling to permanence. We imagine failure as permanent ink on the story of our life. We forget it's just a page, not the whole book. And when we cling, we suffer. So how do we transform fear into freedom? The answer is gentle but powerful. Take one small step anyway, even if your voice shakes, even if the outcome is uncertain. Because every step forward teaches you more than standing still ever will. Picture this: a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, they cry, but then they stand again. None of us would look at that child and say, "You failed." We'd smile, encourage, and celebrate the attempt. What if we offered ourselves the same compassion, So, I'll ask you, what dream have you been holding back because of fear? And what might happen if you allowed yourself to stumble and still kept moving? Failure is not your enemy. It is the doorway to growth. And once you see it that way, fear begins to lose its grip. So tonight, remember, every step, even the messy ones, carries you closer to who you're meant to be. Failure doesn't close the path. It lights the way. Habit 10. Neglecting body and mind. There's something we often forget. Your body is not just flesh and bones. It's the vessel that carries your spirit through this life. And when we neglect it, when we ignore its quiet signals, push it past its limits, or feed it without care, we don't just harm the body, we also dim the light of the mind. Maybe you've felt it. Those mornings when you wake up heavy, drained, already tired before the day begins. Or those evenings when stress weighs so much that even silence feels noisy. In those moments, it's not just the body crying out. It's the soul whispering, "Please, take care of me." In Buddhism, the body and the mind are seen as deeply connected, like two wings of a bird. If one weakens, the bird cannot fly. And yet in our busy lives, we often treat self-care as optional. Something we'll do later, when there's more time. But later rarely comes. Think of your body as a boat on a long river. If the boat leaks, no matter how strong your spirit is, you won't make it far. To care for your body is not vanity, it's wisdom. It's eating food that nourishes rather than numbs. It's moving your body not just to look a certain way, but to feel alive. It's resting when you need to, without guilt. And then there is the mind, our inner world. Just like the body, it needs care. Meditation, even for a few minutes a day, is like cleaning the dust off a mirror. Mindfulness is the practice of returning home to yourself, of noticing your breath, your feelings, your thoughts, without judgment. When we do this, the storms inside begin to calm. But here's the conflict. Society often celebrates constant productivity. Push harder, do more, rest later. And so we run, until one day our body says, "No more," or our mind grows restless, anxious, burned out. So let me ask you, what might change if you treated your body and mind not as afterthoughts, but as sacred companions? What if, instead of rushing, you paused? What if you gave yourself the same care you so freely offer others? The truth is, when you nurture both body and mind, everything else in life begins to flow. Your relationships deepen. Your work gains clarity. Your joy returns, little by little. So tonight, remember this. Your body is the boat. Your mind is the sail. And your spirit is the wind. Take care of them, because only then can you journey freely, wherever your heart longs to go. Habit 11. Perfectionism. Clinging to the illusion of being perfect. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you do, it's never enough? That nagging voice inside saying, "You should have done better. You should have been perfect." Perfectionism is like a chain. It looks shiny from a distance, pushing us to achieve, to strive, to polish every detail. But when you hold it too tightly, it begins to hurt. It drains your energy, steals your joy, and leaves you exhausted, because perfection is an illusion. I've met people who reached incredible milestones, career success, financial stability, even the admiration of others. And yet, when they looked in the mirror, they still saw flaws. Still heard that whisper, "Not good enough." Have you ever been there? The Buddha spoke of the middle way, not the path of extremes, not lazy neglect, and not ruthless perfectionism, but a balance, effort with compassion, discipline with kindness, growth without self-punishment. Imagine walking a tightrope. If you lean too far toward control, you fall. If you lean too far toward carelessness, you fall. The art of life is finding balance in the center. Think of a flower. It doesn't force itself to bloom perfectly. A petal may be slightly torn, the stem slightly bent, and yet it is still beautiful. Why do we demand of ourselves a perfection that even nature doesn't require? But here lies the tension. Society often rewards perfectionists. We hear, "Only the best survive, only the flawless win," and so we chase and chase until we burn out. The inner conflict grows, a deep desire to rest, against the fear of being less than. So I ask you this, what would your life feel like if you let go of the need to be perfect? What if good enough was truly enough? What if you treated your mistakes not as failures, but as teachers guiding your path? Perfectionism robs us of presence. We're so focused on polishing tomorrow that we miss the beauty of today. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of the Sunday, the quiet breath, keeping us alive. These things don't need perfection to be sacred. Remember, you are already worthy. Not when you achieve more, not when you erase every flaw, but here, now, as you are. Effort is noble, but peace is found in acceptance. So tonight, whisper to yourself, "I am enough. My imperfections are part of my humanity, and in that, I am whole." Because freedom doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from embracing the perfectly imperfect journey of being human. Habit 12. Holding on to anger. Have you ever held on to anger so tightly, it felt like it was burning you from the inside out? The truth is, anger is like holding a burning coal. We think we're saving it, ready to throw it at someone else, but in reality, we are the first to get burned. I remember a time when someone betrayed me. Days passed, weeks even, yet I replayed their words in my head, over and over. Each replay, the pain grew heavier. Did it punish them? Number. It only poisoned me. Anger doesn't free us, it chains us. But here's the struggle. Anger feels powerful in the moment. It gives us a sense of control, of standing tall. Yet that fire, if not released, consumes everything. Our peace, our sleep, even our health. Science shows that chronic anger increases stress, weakens the heart, shortens our breath. The body suffers, just as the mind does. Buddhism teaches us compassion and forgiveness, not as a favor to others, but as a medicine for ourselves. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying, "What you did was okay." Number. It means, "I choose not to let your actions keep hurting me." That shift transforms anger into freedom. Think of a clenched fist. When you hold it tight, the muscles ache. The hand trembles. Now imagine slowly opening the palm. The tension softens. The pain eases. This is what letting go feels like inside the heart. But here comes the question. Why is it so hard to let go? Perhaps because anger convinces us it gives strength. Yet real strength is in gentleness. It takes courage to break the cycle of hate. To say, "I will not pass this suffering forward." So I ask you, who are you still holding anger against? Is it someone from your past? A family member? Maybe even yourself? And what is that anger costing you your sleep, your joy, your peace of mind? Every moment you release a little anger, you create space for love, for healing, for light to come in. Imagine your heart not as a battlefield, but as a garden. Forgiveness is the water. Compassion is the Sunday slowly. Life blooms again. So tonight, whisper to yourself, I let go. I free myself. My peace matters more than my anger. Because the truth is simple. Anger chains us, but compassion sets us free. And freedom is the greatest gift we can ever give to ourselves. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause for a moment. Think about all the habits we've explored: anger, perfectionism, neglecting the body, and so many others. On the surface, they seem different. But underneath, they share one painful thread. Each of them quietly drains our life energy. Each of them hides the peace and joy that are already within us. The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." When we cling to harmful habits, our mind reflects that heaviness, and our life slowly starts to mirror it. But when we release, when we choose to let go, even if just a little, we don't lose anything. We gain space, a sacred space where wisdom can enter, where love can grow, where joy can breathe again. Letting go does not mean weakness. It does not mean giving up. It means stepping out of the prison we unknowingly built for ourselves. Imagine you are holding a stone, heavy and rough. The longer you carry it, the more your arm aches. Letting it down isn't loss, it is freedom. And maybe you're wondering, where do I even start? The answer is gentle. Start with one small thing. Perhaps today, forgive one person who hurt you, even if only in your heart. Perhaps tonight, put down your phone a little earlier and gift yourself a moment of silence. Or maybe tomorrow morning, take a slow breath before your day begins. These small openings are doors that lead you back home to your truest self. I know life is not simple. Each of us has wounds, some visible, some hidden deep. But that's why these practices matter. They don't erase the challenges. They give us strength to walk through them with grace. When you loosen anger, compassion flows. When you soften perfectionism, acceptance blooms. When you nurture your body and mind, balance returns. So I want to ask you, as you sit here, which habit spoke to your heart the most? Which one whispered, "This is me"? Hold that thought gently. Don't judge yourself. Just notice it. Because awareness is the first step to freedom. And maybe, as you listen, someone came to mind. A friend, a parent, a child, someone you've seen struggling under the weight of these habits. If so, perhaps share this message with them. Not as advice, but as an offering of light. Sometimes, a single word, heard at the right time, can open a new path. Remember, you don't walk this journey alone. We are all learning to let go. We are all learning to return to peace. And if tonight, when you close your eyes, your mind feels a little lighter, your heart a little softer, then you've already begun. Because the truth is simple. When we release what weighs us down, life itself lifts us up. So breathe in, breathe out. Smile gently. The path to peace is already under your feet.